This presentation is a true story about a teenage relationship that was unhealthy and unfortunately ended tragically. As we go through this story, I want you to look out for anything that might seem like a warning sign or unhealthy. Jolee Callan was a typical teenager. She grew up in the town of Vincent, Alabama. She was only 18 years old when she was murdered by her ex-boyfriend. We are looking at this case not because it's hard to find examples of teen dating violence in our own community, but because Jolie's murderer was very active on social media, and we can use his posts online to follow the evolution of his abusive relationship and also to see the warning signs of an abusive partner. Some background info on Jolee. She loved musical theater. She was described as being bubbly, and she was someone who had friends in every social group. Jolie's murderer is a guy named Loren Daniel Bunner. Jolee and Loren started dating the summer before Jolie's senior year of high school. Loren was a year older than Jolee, so that summer he had just graduated. First, we are going to look at Loren's Instagram account because he did a great job of documenting his relationship with Jolee there. He also documented his abusive personality traits. Here is a screenshot of Loren's earliest posts. Is this what you expected to see when I told you we were going to look at the Instagram account of a murderer? No, there is nothing creepy about these images at all. He appears to be a very normal teenage boy. He likes retro video games and toys. He likes Star Wars. Notice that these posts span from June 2012 to June 2013. So in his first year of being on Instagram, he's only posted 6 photos. Here are his next set of photos from June 2013 to July 2014. Again, there's nothing violent or weird about his posts. On July 31st, 2014, Loren makes his first post about being in a relationship with Jolee. This is a screenshot from a text from her. Apparently, he wants to take her somewhere to surprise her, and she's teasing him about it. So by the end of July 2014, we know that they are officially an item because they are posting about dating each other. From here on out, his account looks very different. Now everything he posts is about his relationship with Jolee. These posts span from the summer until winter of 2015, the fall semester of her senior year of high school. Continuing on into the spring, we see that Jolee took Loren to her senior prom. They take a trip to the beach together also. Everything appears to be normal until we get to this post on April 29th, 2015. Here, Loren posts a picture that Jolee clearly took of herself, alone in a bathroom. The caption reads, "Hacked, I guess? I truly don't understand how people selfie with a tablet, but I love you even though you hate me." If your friend in a relationship posted something like this, what might you assume is going on? That the relationship is in trouble, right? The caption is weird. It's weird to say, "I love you even though you hate me." And I looked through all of the likes on this picture, and Jolee did not like this post. So we know something is wrong. From reading the court dockets and the articles about this case, I learned what was happening during this time. According to Jolee's friends and family, Loren was always a very possessive and jealous boyfriend. He didn't like Jolee's friends or her family, and he didn't like her spending time with anyone else but him. He only wanted her to spend time with him and his friends, and if she made plans that didn't involve him, he would get very angry with her. And we have to remember the time frame of this. This is the spring semester of Jolee's senior year. And obviously she wants to spend time with her classmates before heading off to college. So Loren's jealousy makes Jolee uncomfortable and she decides to break up with him. What is the healthy reaction to getting dumped? It's to accept it and leave that person alone, right? Unfortunately, Loren was not a healthy person. So rather than accepting the breakup, he starts harassing Jolee. Her friends and family said that Loren would not leave her alone. He would show up at her house uninvited. He would call and text her at all hours, demanding to know where she was and who she was with. And when that tactic did not bring her back, Loren started to threaten her. He told her that he was so depressed because of the breakup that he was going to kill himself if she didn't take him back. So Jolee felt responsible for his depression and she takes him back. But ultimately, she doesn't want to be dating him anymore. And her and Loren get stuck in the cycle of breaking up and getting back together over and over again. That's what was happening during this period of time. After that post on April 29th, Loren falls silent on Instagram. He doesn't reappear until August 15th when he posts a picture of his new puppy, Kiba. Now his posts look the way they did before his relationship with Jolee. Again, he's posting road trip pics, video game stuff, and even a selfie from the same bathroom as before. On August 23rd, he posts this cryptic photo of a journal and he says, "I'm home and I actually feel pretty hopeful. We'll see though." Is this a happy, optimistic post? No. It's pessimistic and kind of dark. We can assume he's not in a good place emotionally. August 24th through August 27th. You'll notice he's posting a lot more frequently now. He posts that picture of Kiba looking directly at the camera, and you will post it again a few days later. On August 28th, he says, "I know I already posted this one, but this sweet little guy went missing last night in Vincent, and it would mean a whole lot to me if you could keep your eyes out for him. Hashtag bring Kiba home." Now, the interesting thing about this post is that he says Kiba went missing in Vincent, and Loren doesn't live in Vincent. Who lives in Vincent? Jolee does. Loren lives in the next town over called Oxford. So cute little Kiba is missing, and look who likes this post. Jolee is a kitten. That's Jolee's Instagram handle, and for the first time in a long time, Jolee interacted with Loren on Instagram. Loren posts this picture of Jolee later that same day. They're hanging out again. And even later that night, he posts a picture of himself and Jolee cuddling and watching a movie. Saturday, August 29th, the next day, he posts, "Taking Kiba on a hike tomorrow, so I guess things are looking up." What's weird about this post, though? Kiba was missing, and now he's suddenly not missing anymore? That's suspicious, right? When the police were investigating Jolee's murder, they read her text conversations from her last days. On this day, while Loren was posting that he was feeling good, Jolee was having a text conversation with her best friend. She told her friend that she and Loren had plans to go hiking together on Sunday, and she said it would be a symbolic hike. It was going to symbolize the end of their relationship as exes, and it would be the beginning of their platonic friendship. When she tells her friends this, her friend says, "Just don't let him drag you off into the woods and kill you." Here is Jolee's response to that text message. LOL. Well, if something happens to me, you'll know who I was with. How does that reaction make you feel? It seems like both Jolee and her friend know that Jolee is in danger. Regardless, Jolee still goes on the hike the next day. It's Sunday, August 30th, and Loren posts this picture of Jolee in his car. She's got Kiba in her lap, she's playing music, and he captions the picture, "On your way to go hiking," with a heart. He tags her in the caption. Next picture, Kiba's dragging Jolee on a mission. He tags her again. Next we see is Jolee standing on a cliff, holding Kiba. The caption reads, "Oh, you know, just enjoying the view. At Jolee is a kitten." And this is the last image Lauren ever posts on Instagram. The caption reads, "Oh, Jolee the photographer." We don't know exactly what happened after Lauren took and posted this photo, but we do have the police report, so I'm going to read you that. This is the timeline of events from the Oxford police report. On the afternoon of August 30th, 2015, Loren Bunner calls 911 in Oxford and tells the dispatchers that he needs to talk to the police because he had murdered his girlfriend on the trail. 6:30 p.m., Loren leads the Oxford police to Jolee's body at the bottom of a 40-foot cliff. Jolee had been shot twice, once in the back of the head and once between her eyes. She was still wearing her backpack. Large amounts of blood were found at the top of the cliff and on Loren's steering wheel. Loren tells investigators that he and Jolee had made a suicide pact. He was supposed to shoot her and then kill himself, but after shooting her, he couldn't go through with the plan, and instead he called the police. There was no suicide note ever recovered for Jolee, and he eventually admitted while in police custody that he killed her because of the breakup. He didn't want to live without her. Loren was eventually convicted of murdering Jolee and given 52 years in jail. If you pay attention to the news, you know that these types of crimes are not uncommon. On an average day in the United States, 3 women are murdered by a romantic partner. When the media covers these types of crimes, they say things like, "It was a crime of passion," or "He was a nice boy who went crazy when his heart was broken." Is this a situation where someone just suddenly went crazy? No. We have evidence that this was a premeditated crime. How do we know that Loren planned this out? Because he brought the gun with him on the hike. He had it with him in his car that morning when he went to pick up Jolee. He didn't murder her in front of other people, and he didn't hurt anyone else. So he was thinking clearly when he committed this crime. What kind of a person is capable of calmly planning out the murder of someone that they love? A psychopath? A sociopath? Was Loren crazy or mentally ill? This case got a lot of media attention, and law enforcement spent a lot of time and money investigating this crime. They knew he committed the crime, but they wanted to understand why he did it. So they did research into Loren's background. What they discovered was that Loren doesn't fit the profile of a typical murderer. This was his first time anyone had ever seen Loren being violent. He wasn't a kid who had behavioral problems. His former teachers and classmates all said that he was a good kid. He did not grow up in an abusive home. He was never a victim of abuse. They asked his former girlfriends if he ever scared or threatened them. They said that Loren had always been a little jealous, but he had never hurt or scared them before. No criminal record. Loren had never even been arrested before. Loren's friends said that Loren would drink beer sometimes, but that he didn't like getting drunk and he didn't do drugs. So why did he do it? Let's look back on the case. What happened right before Loren killed Jolee? She broke up with him for good. She had broken up with Loren before. This time was different. This time, Jolee meant it. When Loren realized that threatening her with suicide wasn't going to work anymore, he had to do something different. And so he became violent for the first time in his life. We have to remember that Loren did not kill Jolee because he was violent or mentally ill. He did it because Jolee said no to him. So while Loren is not a psychopath, he is an abuser. All abusers want power and control over their victims, and they will use different types of behaviors to get that control. Was Loren abusive towards Jolee before he killed her? Yes. When he was stalking her, calling her around the clock, telling her she couldn't spend time with her friends and family, that's all emotional and verbal abuse. When he threatened her with suicide if she didn't give him what he wanted, that was also verbal and emotional abuse. Unfortunately for Jolee, she made the mistake that many victims make. She assumed that because Loren had never been violent before, that he wasn't dangerous. And that's not how abusive relationships work. If you want to know if your partner will ever become dangerous towards you, you don't ask whether they've been physically violent before. You must ask yourself, does my partner want to control me? Here are some typical signs that someone has a control problem. Now let's look at Laurent's Twitter account for more clues that he was abusive. If you know what signs to look out for, you can easily spot an abusive person before you get romantically involved with them. An abuser will show they want control through the things that they say. People use Twitter to express their values and opinions. So if Laurent was an abuser, it should be easy to spot that in his online activity. Let's see. Here are two things that Laurent liked and retweeted. We have to pay close attention to subtle messages of abuse because it won't always be very obvious. The messages aren't overtly violent, but they do promote controlling your partner. What do these messages say about romantic relationships? Both of these tweets promote the right someone has to isolate their romantic partner. Why would an abuser want to isolate their victim? These are things that Laurent tweeted himself. Over and over again, he displays the notion that he is a victim. How does victimizing themselves help an abuser control their partner? Some sad, depressive tweets. The good thing about social media is that we can use it to learn about the people around us. If you want to know what a person is like, you can read their social media posts. These will tell you about their values and their personality. Use that information to screen potential partners. This is Loren's very last tweet. Look at the date on it. Almost 2 weeks before killing Jolee, he was making lewd, offensive posts about her online. Unfortunately for Jolee and everyone who cared about her, there was never any intervention, and Jolee lost her life. But Jolee isn't the only casualty in this case. Who else is now missing from the community? Laurent. Laurent is in prison now and his life is ruined. He is a victim of his own abusive behaviors. In retrospect, there should have been an intervention to keep Jolee safe. There also should have been an intervention for Laurent's sake. Laurent showed all of the symptoms of being an abuser, and yet nobody ever called him out. Why do we tend to ignore abusive relationships? I think it's because we like to mind our own business. But domestic violence isn't something that only happens to young people who are foolish and don't know better. Everyone in this Everyone around you knows somebody who's been a victim of domestic violence. And this type of violence happens far too often for us to mind our own business. What we must do is call out abusive behavior when we see it or hear it or read it online. And I'm not talking about intervening when someone is about to physically attack their partner. I'm talking about calling out the subtle things, because that's really where abusive behavior starts. When someone says something like, I don't let my girlfriend hang out with guys, or if my boyfriend looks at another girl, I'll kill him. Call that sort of behavior out. Tell them that it's not funny and it's not normal. That's the only way to change our culture. Now, how do we prevent ourselves from being abused? If you feel something is wrong, don't ignore it. I want you to remember the text conversation that Jolee had with her best friend the night before her murder. Her friend predicted Jolie's death before it happened, and there's nothing supernatural about this. All people are born with a survival instinct, and you should trust it. If something makes you feel afraid, don't ignore it, respond to it. What could Jolee and her friend have done differently to keep Jolee safe? Jolee's friend could have told Jolee's parents about the hike, possibly, and even if Jolee had been angry with her, it might have kept her safe.